Hey everybody, welcome back to Sandy's Creative Connection. Here's our next card, very festive and fall, made with one of the stamp sets out of the Holiday Mini called Truly Grateful, 1995. So let's get started. It's very detailed, so a little more complicated than the last one we did. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is cut 2 pieces of cardstock. This is soft suede and it is 4 1/4 by 11. Then another piece of cardstock that is Pool Party and it is stripes
4 by 5.
Embossing folder. That's in the Holiday Mini as well. And you're going to put it right inside and you're going to line it up. Go back to that piece of card base. We're going to fold it in half. And before we glue this on, we're going to go in and we're going to cut some of this jute ribbon. It's in the holiday catalog. $7.95. Really pretty, good and thick. And it's so thick that it's not going to wrap over the edge of the cardstock. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to cut the little tails in the bottom. Get a tail like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down, and I'm using the green Tombow. Kind of be careful, it doesn't take much and it will seep through if you get too much. Glue it down, and then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to clip off this ribbon. This ribbon is so thick it's not a good one to lap over the top edge. It will just be so bulky. Then we're going to glue this down with some Tombow. It's done. Alright, so then in the next step is we're going to go in and we are going to use Window Frames Collection. And we're going to pull out the third from the smallest frame. And then our next step is to punch using these great guides. This is the Festive Piercing Pack, and we're going to pierce the edge. And what is nice about these is it gives us a frame by which to lay up our piece of cardstock. So when we lay it up, we'll know right where to punch our holes. Hoping you can see that. So I'm going to use a piercing pad. It's in the main catalog. I'm going to lay this down and then get our paper piercer. It looks like this. And then I'm going to I always start at a corner so I can remember. Now the nice thing about this little kit is that this isn't the only thing you get for $3.95. You get a package. We have other framelits that this goes with, so that's kind of a nice little deal for $3.95. Once we've done that, then I'm going to pull out another set of framelits called the Framed Circles Collection. And this is really good. I mean, it has all different sizes of circles. It's wonderful. The fifth largest circle, and I went and I cut out a piece of white cardstock. And then we're going to take a baked brown sugar and the herringbone looking stamp. I'm going to ink it up. And I'm just going to go right over the top. I'm going to glue that to my paper pierced piece and come out with that look. Okay, so we've got that much done. That is 2 by 4. This just came out of the back of some designer series paper. So I just cut it using one of my bigger cutters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, and then I'm going to wrap it really, really quick. And I'm going to leave that leg off of there and pull it off the cardboard. And then I happen to have a piece of linen thread already cut, and I'm just going to wrap it a couple times, and I am going to tie a square knot. Pull it to the center and get all my little leggies hanging down. Okay, so now for the acorns. Acorns are done with a scrap piece of paper. And what I did, this acorn is right here, and I just used Early Espresso. I like the darker color. So I'm going to put Early Espresso down. And then I grabbed a blender pen, and before it dried I started just kind of pulling color where I wanted it. You see this shadow here to give it the depth underneath the cap of the acorn. And then I'm going to pull down here. And then as the last part, I'm going to go back and grab some of this baked brown sugar, and you see how I got a little blobby there? You know how I get that? If you'll take and you'll squeeze your pads before you open it, you get a nice little blobby that you can pick up with either a watercolor brush or a blender pen. And then I'm just going to kind of whip some, just a little lighter. That's all there is to that. Blender pens are wonderful. I mean, I do a lot with blender pens. Alright, so then you cut them out, and when you cut them out, this is what you get. Alright, so that first little acorn, I'm going to go ahead and put him on. And I'm going to use dimensionals. Okay. Now I'm going to put one of my acorns on, and I'm going to use Tombow for my acorn. Just a little bit. The first acorn. And then the second one I'm going to pop up. So there's my first one, and then I'm going to put a dimensional on the second one. That. So I ran and got my glue dots. I always put the bow to the glue dot, pull it off, and then, okay. So the last thing we need to do is get that. Now again, I went back to framelets, and we have a framelit called Bitty Banners. And if you're noticing, this is how it comes. You got 3 little banners, and that's a piece of magnetic sheet of magnet back there, and it really does a nice job holding those little framelets in place. I did it with the window frames. See how nice it holds? I stamped Thankful. I've already done it. See how pretty it came out? Alright, so this guy's going to go on with dimensionals. There you go.